I was so excited to see the engagement announcement on Facebook, and I thought, if there's ever an excuse to miss Easter Sunday, that's a good one. So good job, man. And Albert, I'm so happy to have you here, and we're so excited for you as well. It's so cool. You got a great guy here. All right. All right, so believe it or not, my portion today isn't going to be as long as it sometimes is. So you can feel good about that. Yes, thank you. Honesty, thank you, John Anderson. Can always count on you just at the right moment. All right, so anyway, we're talking today, continuing on this idea about CrossWalk as offering harbor for loving community. And Angie, just again, man, what a beautiful message you gave and your own experience, and then your meditation you gave us. Thank you for offering yourself and your giftedness. I'm so glad that you sense the nudge of God to lean in here and to become again, born again, really. So thank you for that. It was just extraordinary. It's really great. So Easter happened last week, and in the original Easter happened, and for a week or two or so, the disciples who'd followed Jesus for a while, they were kind of figuring out what to do, weren't quite exactly sure what to do. Then they got marching orders to go back to Jerusalem to hang out there until the Spirit came, which Jesus referred to in different Gospels in different ways. In the Gospel of John, it was the Paraclete, this partner, this other that's going to come alongside you and to help you along and give you words to say. And so they were hanging out in Jerusalem at the biggest festival in Judaism, which was called the Feast of Pentecost, where probably 100,000, 200,000 people would make their way there to celebrate the giving of the law of God, so the Ten Commandments and all of that. And they're hanging out in this upper room, could have been the very upper room that they had the first communion in, the Last Supper, if you will. And then this crazy thing happens, which we'll look at in a few more weeks, where the presence of God showed up in palpable, obvious ways, and everybody knew it. And it sort of blew everybody's mind and burst open the gates of grace. Now all of a sudden, everybody was clear that the grace of God, the presence of God, the anointing of God was for everyone and already was. And now they get to walk into it. People wondered what the heck was going on. Peter is the leader of the disciples, now apostles, gives this grand sermon, tries to explain what's going on, encouraging everybody to give in to this grace of God movement. And according to the book of Acts, 3,000 people were added to the number that day. So pretty extraordinary day. Well, right after that, or not very long after that, the community of Jesus people formed. It was expanding. A lot of the people, when you're going to see the text that I'm going to show you, they were there just for Pentecost festival. They weren't going to be there much longer, but they found a new way of thinking and being and a new community that changed them. And this is what that community looked like. And all the believers met together in one place and shared everything they had. They sold their property and possessions and shared the money with those in need. They worshiped together at the temple each day, met in homes for the Lord's Supper, and shared their meals with great joy and generosity, all the while praising God and enjoying the goodwill of all the people. I love everything about this, that they are experiencing this true God community in such beautiful ways, just sharing with each other, looking forward to being together, having a great meal together and lingering in it, not like rushing through it so you can get to that Netflix series you want to watch. You know what I mean? I mean, just relishing in each other's company and joy. And I love this piece here. It's just a nod, enjoying the goodwill of all the people. I love it. And it concludes this section, and each day the Lord added to their fellowship those who are being saved. And remember, saved is bigger than getting your soul saved so you don't go to hell. Saved is being made well. Being made more and more well. This is the root word of what this whole thing stems from. I think about CrossWalk in a lot of ways when I think about this passage, about the kind of community that we are creating and have created so far, where there's a joy, there's a grace, there's a belonging, there's a becoming that's here. And I think about the ways that we have found the favor of the broader community. CrossWalk is popular. Well, at least with the non-church community, we're popular. The civic organizations, the nonprofits in Napa love us. They really do. It's a remarkable thing. And so I just want to celebrate that for a moment, that we harbor a gathered community that is unique and special. After I heard Angie talk about her experience, it made me want to attend CrossWalk even more. I might even become a member. We'll see. We've had some research done here over the last year because two things. We wanted to prepare for this capital campaign and wanted to know if we were in a good place. Part of that process is a feasibility study where we get eyes on us through a survey that goes throughout to make sure there aren't any big problems that would get in the way of our success. There was a different survey that I encouraged you guys to take last fall that was this national survey that we fed our information into. And so I got that information back. And then there was a study on strategic planning for our church that our board went through. And from all these different sources, this may not surprise you at all, but there were two primary reasons why people started showing up to CrossWalk. And almost invariably, people start showing up to CrossWalk online long before they show up here. So they already are familiar with me, what I teach, what I'm thinking about, what we are about. And so it won't surprise you that the top two reasons why people show up at CrossWalk are first, our theological perspective. We're a progressive alternative. We offer a different way of thinking about the Bible, theology, the whole thing, all of that. And we're well known in the community for serving the community. And so sometimes people don't care so much about the God part. They're kind of like, yeah, that's neat, but I want to be a part of a church that actually does something for the community. And other people, it's the other side. It's like, I really need to work out my faith. And it's pretty cool that this church, serves the community so much. That's a real draw. I want to be at a church. If I'm going to work it out, I want to be at a church that's doing so much. Just a short brag point, not even a humble brag, just a brag for our church. So I was on a judging panel for CVNL, which is the Center for Nonprofit and Volunteer Organizations. And every year they do a large event where they celebrate different nonprofit leaders, board leaders, volunteers specifically, and organizations. And for the past several years, because I was a recipient of their leadership award several years ago, because of all that you and we have done together, right? I've been on the judging panels ever since to help understand the process. And so we were looking at these organizations. There were like 5 that we narrowed it down to, and looking at their applications and stuff. And we have to disclose, if we have any bias or any relationship that might get in the way. And all 5 of the top organizations we looked at, CrossWalk has a very strong relationship with. It's like we are partnering with all of them to help them do their thing because all the things that they're doing are things that we want to be a part of. If it's immigration, if it's feeding people, if it's mental health, on and on and on it goes. And how cool is that, that we have that? So the leader of CVNL, she was like, good grief, I knew you guys did a lot. I didn't know you did that much for the community. So bragging right, and I love it. But after a while, those two things, while they're important and might get some of us in the door, the real secret sauce is what Angie referred to. And that's when it becomes more than just interesting intellectual engagement and more than just being a part of a place that's getting a lot done in the community. It becomes family. It becomes a connection, a real community where you know people and you're known by people, that you care about people and you know you're cared about people. That's something that you cherish and you know you're cherished. And that is what is possible here. And many of you, that is here. And for those of you who aren't there, it takes as much as just hanging out a little bit more, asking a few more questions of the person sitting around the table, hanging out for May the 4th be with you brunch. That kind of stuff. Because I'm going to tell you, CrossWalk's filled with amazing people. You are amazing people. And you really ought to get to know each other. I get a special perspective because I'm your pastor. So I know you. Sometimes I know you and your deep, dark secrets and what you're going through long before anybody else does. And I'm just telling you, you're beautiful people. Get to know each other. You'll be glad you did. I'll also want to tell you, this may surprise you, that CrossWalk harbors a diverse community. And you may look around the room and be thinking, what is Pete smoking today? Because it sure seems like we are very, very white here in this CrossWalk Community Church. Well, that's true. We are. And we are in Napa, which is predominantly white. Although 42% of Napans in Napa County are Latinx. So we need to appreciate and respect that. And we certainly do want to grow in our ethnic diversity. Don't get me wrong. That is really important to me, and it's really important to us to continue to do that and figure out how to do that. But at the same time, even though we're predominantly white, hey, I want to celebrate this, that we really do reflect ethnic diversity here. We are African American, we are Asian, we are European, we are Latinx, and we are Pacific Islander. We are. Now, you may not see it every week, but we are. People who call themselves crosswalkers, this is us. And I think that's pretty cool. Now, one of the realities is, oh, somebody clapped. Thank you. It wasn't John this time, yeah. Now, one of the things that we often mistake for diversity is we just simply go to ethnicity or skin tone. And while that is, again, something that we want to increase on, because we do live in a very, very diverse community. We really do. And in Napa County to our south, there is a very large Filipino community. Why are we representing the Filipino community here and African American community? Like I mentioned several weeks ago, the highest density of African Americans in the state of California by county is Solano County, just across the border. We should be reflecting that. So I want to, and we'll figure out how to do that. But the good news is that our diversity is much more than just ethnicity. Take a look at some of the ways that we are diverse. We are diverse in terms of age. We are spread out from cradle all the way up to deep into retirement age. Educational achievement from high school all the way up to PhD and postgraduate degrees. Gender identity, sexual orientation, neurodiversity, income levels, relationship diversity, and political persuasion. That is a rich tapestry of people. A few years ago, this gentleman passed away some time ago, but before he did, we had a couple conversations, and he would just ask me, I can't get my head around CrossWalk. He'd been a part of another church in the valley for some time and came to us because of our theology. And he's like, I just can't figure you guys out. Because I come into the parking lot and I see every kind of car imaginable here. From a very, very, expensive high-end car to something that you're not quite sure it should even be on the road. You know what I mean? And he couldn't quite get it. And but that's it. I love that. And do you understand how cool that is? That some churches seem to get so homogenized, that they're all just kind of one flavor. But that's not CrossWalk. We've got it all here. And I think that speaks so much about the shalom that we try to represent and embrace. And I want to tell you, too, that our board of stewards reflects the membership. Now, some nonprofits, when they look for board members, they're looking for people with deep pockets who can bring a lot to the table, right? When we think about the board of stewards here, we're looking for a reflection of the whole. So our board of stewards is this, of all kinds of different backgrounds, so that when we come together to make leadership decisions, it's based on the whole of this beautiful tapestry. It's quite amazing. Now, other ways that we're diverse have to do with what we do with our lives, like work-wise. We've got professionals here, like CPAs, lawyers, the trades, health sciences, all levels of educational instruction from preschool all the way up to PhD level. Business people, medical field folk, we have lots of nurses and some doctors, environmental sciences. We even have a rocket scientist that comes to CrossWalk, believe it or not. He's super excited about Star Wars Day, by the way. We have people with significant theological training here. I'm not the only reverend here. We have a reverend doctor right there. We have another reverend doctor that comes to the early service, Matt Rial, you know him, and others who've studied lots of this stuff. We have people in the arts of different flavors and forms. That's awesome. We have mental health professionals here. We have people who worked retail. in their life. We have full-time parent type folks. We've got people in the agricultural industry, which you may also know as the wine industry. We've got health services people. We've got students. We've got hospitality folks. We've got government services and more. We are a diverse congregation, and that is really something that is lovely and wonderful. To me, it speaks of the possibility of shalom, of the grace and love of God, that is the thing that draws us together. Shalom is that one thing, that Jewish Hebrew word, which means well-being. It is the essence of what salvation is all about. It is peace. It is holistic well-being, is what we are all called into. It is that thing that calls us forward to new ways of being. And it is that center. It is that gravitational force that makes CrossWalk. It is why we serve the community so much. Because if you're truly founded and informed and wooed and nudged by shalom, you cannot help but figure out ways to serve beyond yourselves. And we do that, and it's working here. Well, the other good news, and Angie certainly hit this, is that CrossWalk harbors a very loving community. And so what I want to do today is a little different. You may remember that about 7 weeks ago, we held a CrossWalk Moth event here. And we did it in both services. So the 9 o'clock, they had the same prompt that the 10 o'clock did, which was, how has CrossWalk been a safe space for you? The bummer of having two services is that you often don't hear from them and they don't hear from you. So I decided to change that today. So you're going to hear from 3 crosswalkers who attend the 9 o'clock service who are talking about how CrossWalk is a safe space for them. And in the 9 o'clock service, I gave them 3 of you to listen to that haven't been up here yet talking in this whole series. So I want to tell you too that the videography was done by me, and it is really Bush League, okay? So it is guerrilla style. You feel like you're sneaking up on somebody's testimony here. But these are 3 folks that most of the time you don't hear from in here, and I hope you enjoy it. Here you go.
Hi, if you don't know me, I'm John Fuller, and my wife Jacqueline. We relocated to this area about a year ago. And a year ago, I stepped down from our former church, being an elder after serving there for 3 years. And what was super refreshing about CrossWalk for me is I had become a person, I don't know if anybody's felt this before, of being a doer, but not being and resting in the Lord. And so this church was really a very, just a breath of fresh air for me. Our previous church used the teaching of Jesus about this analogy of being on the shore, getting in the boat, getting out of the boat, and service. And so I really took that to heart at our previous church, and involved as an elder, children's ministry, hospitality. And I felt like I was out of the boat, but like Peter, I was sinking. And I don't know if anybody's ever felt that way when you're out of balance between service and being restored and renewed. And so what I really appreciated about this church was just having the space to be for a while. And, just through a lot of aspects, but like just the restorative breathing and that sort of thing was really just, like I said, a breath of fresh air for me. So if anybody's ever been in that position before, I just welcome you to do that. And I know that it's an inhale, exhale, and I know that there's going to be a time where God's going to call me to serve again once more. But for this season of life, it's been just super welcome. So I'm just super, super grateful for this church.
Thank you.
I wasn't going to speak this morning, but I didn't put on mascara, so I think there was another plan. Crying has been happening to me recently, but so has anger and joy and emotion. And my journey started here a year ago, and what I was looking for was a place of friendly places after moving from the family state of Massachusetts first Sunday I was here, I had done my research ahead of time for what was the diverse church that I was looking for. I did visit a couple other churches, but they weren't a match. And as I told Pastor Pete, they were my past, and I was looking for my present and future. But what this church gave me took me out of the loneliness, the grieving of missing your family and your life. And yes, I moved here to be with my daughter, and that's great, but it's still a big adjustment. And every week I just came. Mary would greet me, Carol would greet me. I started learning names. And then, as my life opened up, I was trusted with my passion, which is health and nutrition, and to be able to give what you have to a community is huge. And that's diversity, inclusiveness also. We all have different ideas and strengths and histories in our life that if this is a place we can share them. And every single one of us has something different to contribute to each other. And what I found is that part of me was finally welcomed. I had been to other churches where they had the rainbow out front, and my choir director was a gay man who was married, and I was thrilled. But the rest of the congregation was, we always keep those drapes because they're the right color. And we don't want what you have because it doesn't quite fit. It wasn't a conversation, an evolution, an inclusiveness of who are we as individuals and what do we have to give. So when I see sanctuary, it's not just a part of me that this church allows me to be, but it's my whole. And like you just mentioned about being, I had 10 years of doing to assist my parents and hold their hands before they passed. And I'm in the evolution of the now what? And the heart of Christianity has opened up, and that's where emotions, the walls are coming down, and the living life and having and sharing these emotions. So if you see me crying, we're fine. That's actually a good sign. I'm not being the stoic New Englander. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I feel this is a safe place. I've lived in Napa for a little over 10 years. This is my third church. The first church I went to was because my daughter was in a children's program in the Central Valley, and we moved here when she was halfway through kindergarten. I felt, oh, that's a good transition. And then was there a couple of years. I was a leader in that children's group, and that was fine at a time. But the preaching didn't align with my thoughts, and I felt in my gut this isn't for me, and I didn't feel really welcome as a single parent. I felt down upon, and that didn't sit right with me. So we tried another church, and then something else was weird there. And then my friend, coworker that I worked with at Wine Direct, he said that his ex-wife was going here at one time. I don't think she's gone here for quite some time. And said, you should really check out this church. My ex-wife said, Pastor Pete's awesome, blah, blah, blah. So I looked online, I came here, I think I came here to this service first, met Karen, who gave me a welcome bag, and she just seemed so, so sweet. And then later brought my daughter, and that she was like in 4th grade. And then anyway, it's been very welcoming here. Making friends, going to praxis. I feel that my journey as a Christian has changed. I'm a reader anyway, but with the praxis and reading the books, I feel like I'm more in tune to my spirituality now. And it's just been very welcoming and making new friends. And across ethnic backgrounds, diversity, I made a friend through my gym that is trans. I decided to call that person a few weeks ago. I probably would not have done that before, right? And just see, how are you, or not call, I texted, like, how are you doing, kind of thing. I haven't seen you at the gym. And I feel like I'm become a changed person because of CrossWalk. And I feel like I'm a better version of me because of this church and the people that support me here. So thank you.
The reason this is a safe place for me is because of the diversity. The diversity with the faces and the life stories, but also with the concept of diversity of thought and diversity in my theological, the questions that I have. And Pastor Pete has really laid out a large spectrum that so many people can fit into. We don't all have to agree 100% with what is presented before us. And that to me is very helpful because it allows me to explore, it allows me to evaluate, and it allows me to grow. That's why it's a safe place.
Right, so I love church. I've gone to church my whole life. I grew up a Catholic. My parents loved church. We participated in the church. And it's a place for me who tends to be I keep very busy, so I like doing works and knowing that I can go to church and then I just stop all the things that I'm doing. It forces me to do that so I can feel the presence of God, which I do all the time, but to stop and just focus on that. And then I wanted to go to a church that was just a little bit more inspiring to me than the church that I'd grown up in, and I loved the church I went to here in Napa. And I believed that it was welcoming to all. They said they were. And then I started to realize that that wasn't exactly what they meant. Like, you're welcome to come, some of you, as long as you change after you come. And our oldest daughter is gay. She married her partner, Jill, in October of 2023. And I was going to this church and thinking, my daughter would actually not be welcome here. I just can't do that anymore. And so my friend Peta, who I had brought to that other church, introduced me to CrossWalk. And coming here and knowing that everyone here would welcome my daughter just gives me so much hope and joy. And so I know that it's a safe place for my family and for us. And so
Awesome.
I love it here.
Thank you, Judy.
So I hope that you intuitively, just naturally, are asking the question, how has this community shaped you already? And I hear that as pastor. I see that. I see the growth in you, even if you don't all the time. But it's a remarkable place that we have here. And this whole capital campaign is just trying to make sure that this remarkable place continues on into the deep future. When we talk about this stuff, the really exciting projects of a new roof and a new parking lot, those aren't the sexiest things out there to raise money for. But we will benefit from them here at CrossWalk. You and I, we will not have a roof leaking on us, which is wonderful. And you will not have to balance your wheels as often because our parking lot will not have as many potholes. So that's very good. But deep to the heart of what CrossWalk is about is serving others. And so it's not just about us. It's about how are we coming alongside this place, this organization, to make sure that the 90% of the time this place is used is to serve the greater good. That's remarkable. There aren't too many things you can invest in that are going to have that kind of immediate impact for a long time. Now, because we are very diverse here in many, many ways, and one of those ways has to do with our economic capacity, I know that, and some of you have even shared it with me, I just don't have that much. I don't have a lot of cash, and so I feel bad I can't do more. Here's what I want to say to you. I know, and it's okay. Do the best you can. We so appreciate anything that you can do to help. Really, you're a part of it. So thank you for whatever level of support. And some of you are like, no, seriously, Pastor Pete, I've got like a nickel. That's it. And so I would say to you, as I think Jesus would have said to the woman who was forced to give up her last mite, you know that story? I think Jesus would have said to that woman, if it was his decision, he would have said, keep your widow's mite. Go have a cup of coffee for Pete's sake, right? That is inappropriate that you would give up your last penny to enrich, the Pharisees of that day. But here's what I will say. You may not have cash, but you may have feet. And so when we do something fun to include the kids, like a trike-a-thon, bike-a-thon, walk-a-thon kind of thing, maybe you could help us with that. Put your pedal power, to use. Or if we want to have a fun event here, you can invite friends to that fun event here this summer. Or if we're going to do an auction, you can bust it a little bit to find some people who might give us some stuff. There's all kinds of ways that you can be a part of this and contribute. Now, others of you are on the opposite side of the spectrum, and you may have significant capacity to do something to be helpful toward this campaign. And to you, I just want to say, do the best you can. Do the best you can. I've already talked to many of you, and you've told me, all right, well, this is kind of where I'm at. This is what I'm able to do. And I'm telling you, Pastor Pete, this is the least that we hope to do. And the reason they say that is because we don't know what's going on because of the administration's maneuvers in the global economy with the tariffs. We don't know how that's going to play out in the short term. We don't know what that's going to do in terms of global economic instability long term. Can the American economy be trusted, or can it be changed that radically so fast? All those questions. And so the financial advisors of some crosswalkers are saying, well, don't do anything with any of your securities right now. I get that. In some ways, maybe this is the worst time to have a capital campaign. And yet, I have faith. I have faith that together, of all of our varying capacities, if we do the best we can, I think God's going to do some stuff in ways that we don't see. It's going to come from us. We may find ourselves stretching more than we thought we could. And that's a good thing, and that will bring us joy in the end. I think we will, because of all that God is doing here, we will see more things like Dar celebrated already about some other organization that wants to benefit CrossWalk because of all that we do. I think we're going to see more of that. I think we're going to see, especially if we pray that the Spirit of God will work in powerful ways, I think we're going to find some people in Napa who have significant capacity who want to get alongside and support us in very significant ways because they're fans of CrossWalk, even if they never attend here. Who knows what's possible? There's this scripture that says that God owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. And I think sometimes God sells some of those cattle. And I think sometimes God sells some of those cattle to do things for a very physical small church like CrossWalk. So I'm just asking you to do the best you can in light of who CrossWalk is, as a place where you can ask the hard questions and grow your faith, as a place that looks out for those who need help, like folks seeking immigrant documentation. For those who are kicked out of their house by Mother Nature, CrossWalk's doors are open. For those who are mistreated because of their color of their skin or how they identify, whatever that is, CrossWalk says, we welcome you, we affirm you. For those who are in recovery and may be afraid to show their face in other places, we say, you are welcome here. We are with you. We want to learn from you, in fact. And today, we celebrate the fact that this is genuine community that has brought us to this place, and it will continue to welcome more. as we finish out today. I encourage you to get your pledges to us today, either in the box in the back or do it electronically through Realm. That helps us as a leadership group know our next steps to take. That's why we want it. It's not to, put the screws to you or anything like that. It's just so that we can make an informed decision on what we need to do down the pike. Next week, we will announce, what has come in so far. And we were already thrilled. The Board of Stewards and the treasurer and our clerk, our church clerk, board secretary, and our pastoral staff here, we've already committed $106,000 collectively toward this initiative, which is a big deal. And I'm looking forward to seeing what next week's number will be when we get that final total for now. And realize it's 2 years in the making. So you may do something right now, and you may be thinking, boy, I sure wish I could do more. And guess what? That day may come for you. We'll see. Just do the best you can. Let's pray together, and then we can be on our way. God, how can we be anything but grateful today for all the ways your Spirit has moved in our midst? Not just in this service, which I know it has. I've been moved by what I've heard today. I've been moved by what I heard through Angie and her testimony, and then later on, moved in her meditation. I've been moved in Brian's songs, which are so so approachable, so lovely, so real, so down to earth. I love who Brian is and what he brings to the table. I've sensed your presence in Dar, celebrating all the great things that are happening here, ways that people want to be a part of this place. I've been touched by the voices, remembering those voices that already shared what happened to them and why they're here in the first place. God, you are incredible, and you're doing incredible things in this space. We want to continue to be more involved in what you want with our lives. And so nudge us as we need to be nudged. Remind us that we are deeply loved, even cherished, so that as we step out in faith, whatever that might be, we would do it with joy, just joy. It's with deep gratitude, God, that we ask you to keep us safe on our way. We ask this in the name of Jesus, who we follow. Amen. Thanks for coming. Hope you have a great week. See you next week. May the 4th be with you.